Hello everybody, this is Garrett coming at you with another car episode of Produce Your Freedom. Today I want to talk about security a little bit. So I have a couple other videos up, Philosophy of Produce Your Freedom Parts 1 and 2, where I talk about the 7 aspects that we can further our freedom in, and then I talked about the those 7 aspects and how they're kind of restricted by others. So I want to touch on some of the stuff we can do, and this is all cheap and easy stuff, freedom-wise, in the area of security. So for those of you who missed it, those 7 areas were food, water, shelter, energy, health and sanitation, security, and the last one which I added was money, because it can help us to acquire those other 6 items. So in terms of security, a lot of people immediately go to the firearms, martial arts, and all that stuff, and a lot of people use it as an excuse to give themselves a reason to buy a new gun or something. I'm not opposed to the right to bear arms at all. By all means, if that's what you want to do and you enjoy it, go for it. Please get some training if you do. But not everybody's into that, and there's some very basic things that I think should come way before that even someone who does carry a firearm should kind of be aware of to enhance their security. So let's get into it. I'm going to focus around security while we are out and about in public today. There's certainly home security as well that's a discussion for another day, but that's not where I'm going to focus right now. So from a home security standpoint, from public security standpoint, sorry I'm a little distracted while paying more attention to the road than the video. The 2 big factors that we need to keep in mind are awareness and confidence. Those are the 2 end goals. We want to be aware of our surroundings and we want to appear confident. The reason for that is the easiest way that we can improve our security is not by fighting people off necessarily, but by not being selected by somebody to be the victim of a crime, a violent crime or robbery or anything like that. And criminals are opportunistic hunters, just like any other predator nature or anything like that. They look for the easy targets, right? They look for the weak gazelle, so to speak. So we want to appear that we're not that weak target. That goes in, so we'll start with the awareness and then we'll go into the confidence piece. The awareness piece is the don't have your head down in your cell phone. It's what we've been taught and told for years. If you're walking alone in the city street at night, don't have your head down, don't have your headphones on where you can't hear your surroundings and what's going on around you. Look up and walk with a purpose. Actually, those things cover both areas. We're talking about awareness, we're talking about confidence, the walking with a purpose thing. So that's where we want to focus our attention. There's some ways we can develop a level of awareness that's, there's certain things we can do to not be distracted, but there are also things we can do to actually be more observant and promote our awareness. If you look up the term situational awareness and kind of Google some drills on that, you'll see what I'm talking about. There are little games we can play throughout the day to make ourselves more observant and aware of our surroundings, who is where, what our environment is, etc. So I'm not going to go into those drills here. You can look some of those up for yourself, but the overall purpose and really the tie-in is that by being aware of our surroundings, we actually will become more confident, or at least appear more confident. Now, just to clarify, that doesn't mean being aware doesn't mean we're always in a hyper state of awareness, looking behind every bush and staring at every person and making sure that they're not a threat and assessing them as if they might be one, in a very hyper-focused way. We're just trying to be aware of what's going on around us to see if anything out of the ordinary is happening. And that does create the image of confidence, and if the criminal's looking for a target and they see that you are aware of your surroundings, you're not as easy of a target because you're going to have more time to react to whatever happens. They're not going to get that surprise on you, hopefully. And then they know that you might know which way to run, you might know where other people are around you, where to go for help, things like that. So immediately, if they see that you're aware, you're now less likely. The other thing you're going to be looking for that you want to avoid with the paranoid awareness type thing is someone who looks unsure of themselves. That's the confidence piece. So how you would see that is if someone is just kind of has a meek demeanor, if their shoulders are kind of, usually one sign is if their shoulders are slightly hunched forward and they don't really look people in the eye that much, and they're not upright, strong, facing, kind of facing the world type of thing. That's kind of one of the signs. The reason the criminal wants that is just like any other bully or any other predator. They want to know that they don't have much resistance. They don't want to get hurt in the process. They don't want to pick the wrong person who's even just willing to fight them and maybe isn't even able to hurt them, but will raise enough awareness in the process that someone else might come and might catch them, all that stuff. They'd rather key in on someone who they can see is meek and is therefore more likely to just submit to whatever their demands are and to give in. The funny part is we can behave confidently and appear confident by certain things that we consciously do with our posture and our gaze and all that, but the awareness will build the confidence for you. If you are aware of your surroundings, you'll have a greater command, a greater sense of that you know what's going on. That inspires confidence in and of itself. You have a greater command of your world, and therefore you gain a little bit of confidence through doing that. And even if you don't immediately, which might take a little time, that awareness projects confidence, because to do that you have to be in an upright posture. You have to be not distracted, and you have to be looking around. That doesn't mean you think everyone is an issue. It doesn't mean you keep a zillion miles between you and every other person. So now I want to touch on, I think we get the overall concept. I'm going to touch on a few specifics in terms of just some general tips to illustrate what I'm talking about. So when we're out and about in public with this awareness concept, we want to think of the areas where people are usually, or where we are generally, more distracted and less aware. That's usually when our hands are tied up or when we have to perform some task with our eyes and hands. It makes perfect sense. You're trying to put a key in a door and look down and unlock or something like that. And those are the moments that we want to, if there's any moment that we want to be aware more than we ordinarily are, that's pretty much it. Because the criminal, they key in on that opportunity. They know, again, they're looking for a surprise. They're looking to be able to overtake you without too much effort. If you're distracted and doing something else, that gives them a great opportunity to do so. So we want to look for those moments, whatever they happen to be in our regular lives. They're typically when we're going into and out of places, by the way. Into our home, out of our home. Into our car, out of our car. Into work, out of work. Into a retail store, out of a retail store. Those are some big ones that people typically come across. Although it's really any time you're focused on a task that isn't conducive to you looking around. So some things we can do, for example, walking out of a retail store, generally parking lots are decently well lit and all that. A lot of times they have big glass windows, but when people are going through doors, tend to get a little bit of a tunnel vision. They're looking right at the door, right at the handle, and right straight ahead, and sometimes there could definitely be people to either side of that door. So again, this isn't paranoia. You just take a quick glance through those glass windows before you open that door. You may also want to not, kind of have your body and be very close to the door as you open it and push your way through it. You may want to be standing back a little bit, start to push the door while you're still kind of looking a little bit, and then go through. Pretty simple. Then as we walk through the parking lot, if there's not too many cars, not too much traffic going on, we can walk down the middle of the aisle, which gives us a better view in between the cars and doesn't put us right next to an area where someone might be tucked behind a van, waiting to just knock someone out, grab their wallet, and run off, kind of thing. The other thing we can do there is we can kind of peer under cars in some cases. If we're far enough back and you're looking towards the horizon, you may see feet underneath there, which is a good way to deal with that van issue, the panel vans where you can't see all the way through them. You're going to look for cars with heavy tinting even. where you can't really see through, a lot of times you can see feet underneath, and either way we're going to be further away, so we're going to give ourselves a little more reaction time. And then the last step in that process of getting to our car would certainly be our own vehicle itself. This is where I would advocate keeping your vehicle pretty clean, especially in the back seat. It's been a method that criminals have used in the past to jack their way into someone's car, lay down in the back seat and wait for them. This is typically more heinous types of crimes that occur here. Wait for the person to drive away. Now it's the criminal and the victim in a steel box, and it's a pretty compromising situation. A lot of times this has been done, and people will force people to either give them money or to let them into their home to rob them blind that way, or to go to various ATMs and pull out money, things like that. So the quick way around this, of course, is if your back seat's pretty clean and you just kind of give a quick glance into your car as you're walking up back to front, particularly pay attention if you're coming at your car from the front, if you've backed in or something, then what we can pretty easily do there is do a quick scan. Nothing's there. There's always nothing there. I can see that, and we're in the clear. If you have a whole pile of junk, it's less obvious whether there's someone under that, that pile of stuff. One way to do this with sedans, keep it all in your trunk. So that's the basics from a vehicle standpoint. The other thing we can look at doing is hitting our remote unlock if we have one as we're kind of a bit away from the car. A lot of times that'll turn on your dome lights for you. That might help you to look in as well. And it's going to keep you less distracted. I wouldn't be fumbling for the keys. I'd reach into my pocket, feel for it, plenty of time ahead, hit my unlock button, open when I get, glance when I get up there, then I can open the door, close it, lock myself in, and then work with the keys in the ignition. It doesn't take more than an additional second, and pretty decent step. So those are a few little tips. There are certainly others. Another thing I'd recommend doing is carrying a flashlight. It just helps with all the things I just mentioned, only at night, and it allows you to, if you're not quite sure if there's something fuzzy going on, to make it known that you can see what's going on and the other person can't use the cover of darkness. People don't want to be identified when they're doing nefarious things, and if you can identify them with a light, then that may discourage them in and of itself. And these are all about not being selected to begin with, and anyone can do them. Young, old, doesn't matter. These are pretty simple things that we can incorporate tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Of course, feel free to subscribe, like, and comment below. And as always, feel free to check out the blog. That's produceyourfreedom.wordpress.com. Remember, produce your freedom or life will produce your chains. Thanks and have a great day.